Hey guys, happy Monday. How are you? I want to say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I didn't get a chance to say happy Mother's Day yesterday. So I want to talk a little bit about what transpired at my facility this weekend. But it actually started last Tuesday. So one of my residents has been with me for 3 years, and he's 89 years old. And for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I saw a decline in his health. Normally he has a huge appetite, and it was just kind of slowly dwindling down. Even though he still, was eating snacks, but the full meals he just had no interest in. So Tuesday I had my nurse practitioner come and do an assessment on him, and he said that basically his oxygen level was down. It was 86, and normally it should be 91 plus, and it was 86. And he kind of felt like he needed to go to the ER because I didn't have any oxygen at the facility. So I asked how severe it was. Did he think that it was an emergency, that he needed to go ASAP? And he said, well, if we don't send him out right now, then what he could do is order a blood work for him, which would be Wednesday. So I said, you know what? I'm going to play it by ear, and I will just have you order the blood work for him for Wednesday. So that's fine. So that was about 2 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. And so throughout the day, again, like I said, he really wasn't eating, but he was, still eating snacks or what have you, but he just was not himself. He was still talking. He wasn't really mobile. So he was just kind of pretty much there. So he wasn't the same individual that he was a few weeks prior. So fast forward later on that evening, my staff contacted me, and she just said, hey, Miss Sanzella, he is not the same individual that he was. And I think that we need to send him to the hospital. So me, the whole COVID and stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, if we send him, is he going to come back? So I called the nurse practitioner. He said, I think that's a good decision that you decided, or that you're deciding on sending him out. So we sent him out, and the first thing they did was, of course, they tested him, and he did not have COVID, which was a great thing. So thank God for that. But they did say that his kidneys were shutting down, and that was one of the problems. His urine was a little dark, and he did have a Foley, and you could see the urine, and it was kind of dark. But I'm not a doctor, so I didn't realize that it was in regards to the color, so it was a little dark. The doctor did say, or the nurse practitioner did say, it was a bit dark, but nothing to be alarmed about. So fast forward, when he was in the hospital on Wednesday, they did a few tests. Wednesday night, they called me, I should say, and they basically said that his kidneys had shut down. They were shutting down, but then by Thursday, they had already shut down. Contacted his family, and his family is in South Carolina, and his family said that, they were upset about it, and, what could we do? And they said, well, that he's a candidate for hospice. And they knew that, the family members knew that I did hospice at the facility. And so they asked me, would I do hospice? And I said, well, let me talk to my staff first, just to see if they're comfortable with me allowing my resident to do hospice there for his last days. So they said, yeah. And of course, Northwest wanted me to do hospice there because Seasons Hospice is there on the higher level of the hospital. The family declined. And fast forward, so Seasons ordered the medical equipment, and the medical equipment was delivered on Friday. We had got the hospital bed, the bedside table, and other equipment. Saturday, he was supposed to be discharged about 2 or 3 o'clock, and that happened. Hospice nurse was supposed to come about an hour or two after that. I get a call about 6 o'clock in that evening, Saturday, and the representative said, unfortunately, a nurse was not coming out. I'm like, wait a minute, a nurse isn't coming out. She said, unfortunately, she had an emergency, and she will not be out until tomorrow. I said, well, wait a minute. First of all, my resident was discharged from the hospital. He had no oxygen. He had no pain meds. He had no nothing. So you mean to tell me that you're not sending anybody out until tomorrow? This is not going to be good. And I said, what type of emergency does this nurse have that she can't come see my resident? Or matter of fact, don't you have any backup nurses that can come? I'm just not understanding this. So at that time, my resident, he's agitated, he's aggravated, he's kind of moaning, and he's not eating. And I'm just like, oh my God, something's not right. So I called his daughter, and I said, listen, I got a call from the intake person at Seasons Hospice, and they said that unfortunately a nurse is not coming out for whatever reason. So we're just kind of like, oh my God, so what are we going to do? when my staff called me, normally, she doesn't panic or anything like that. She just said that it's not good. So when she sent me pictures of him, I'm just like, oh my God, his mouth was open, his eyes were open and were kind of like dead set. And I said, no, we need to send him back out to the hospital because we don't have anything to make him feel comfortable. So the MT came and they were like, wow, his lower extremities are swollen. So they needed 5 other people to actually move him up out of here. So they took him back to the hospital. And that night, about 9:45, the intake nurse called and just said that, somebody's going to come out tomorrow, which was yesterday. And I said, there's no need because we already sent him out. And I said, I'm very dissatisfied with your service. I don't understand how another nurse can have an emergency and then you didn't have a backup. So basically, I hung up on her. That next morning, I got a call. And the call was from Seasons. It was from the nurse that was supposed to come out that Saturday. And she said, hi, I'm at the back door. I need to go see, I'm here to see the patient. I said, what back door? She's like, oh, the back door. The instructions were go to the back door. I said, the back door. I said, unfortunately, I said, my resident is no longer with me. The resident is at Seasons. I said, I'm very dissatisfied with your services. And I said, who can I talk to? I said, you were supposed to come yesterday, which was Saturday, about 4 or 5 o'clock. I said, but I heard that you had an emergency. What emergency could you have possibly have had? So you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. So she apologized. She was, apologizing profusely or what have you. But you know what? It just didn't sit well with me because I felt like, what was your emergency? And if you are short-handed or short-staffed, then my resident should not have been discharged from the hospital. She gave me the number of the director that I needed to speak to at Seasons because I was just so dissatisfied and the family was just so upset. First thing this morning, the admissions person did contact me and she was so apologetic and she said that, of course, the intake person and the nurse that there were going to be some ramifications because they did not handle it the proper way. And she just said to me that please give them another opportunity to prove themselves that they can, that they're a great hospice, that they're great at what they do. And I have used them, a few times and they were always good, but this time I just don't understand. And I think what made me upset or what made me mad was because the family would at least have been able to come to the facility and see him pass, but he's at hospice in the hospital. And of course they're not having any visitors in the hospital. I do believe, though, that they are going to allow one of the daughters who does live here to sit at his bedside, at least for a few minutes. They did tell me that he is transitioning right now, and it's only a matter of time. But it just kind of made me mad because he's been with me for 3 years, and now all of a sudden he can't transition where he's comfortable at. So he's going to be transitioning in a hospital. It's unacceptable. So Seasons didn't sit well with me. And again, I allowed and let the admissions director know that, you know what, that I was very, very, very dissatisfied with their service. I was very unhappy. And the family was very unhappy as well. And she said that she did talk to the daughter and the daughter was very, very, very angry. And she allowed her to express her feelings about their services. And she pleaded with us and just said, that I am sorry. And we handled this all wrong, from the intake, from the admissions, from the nurse, that they were absolutely off base, off kiltered, and they did not handle this the way that they should. So right now I'm at work. I have to, close out his file. And, like I said, he's been with me for 3 years. And so normally what I do is I close out the file. So this was the resident manual. And so normally what I do is I put a cover sheet on. I put a cover sheet, I want you to see the name. I usually put a cover sheet and I close it up, pack everything up, and then just kind of put it away for the next 3 years in case, the state has any questions. But, it's at the end of the day, guys, you have to remember to always put your residents first and also the families, and you need to be there for them from start to finish. Was I hesitant about giving the okay to bring my resident back for hospice? Absolutely not, because he was my resident and I cared about him, and I just wanted his last days to be really peaceful, and that did not happen. So it just kind of sucks right now that I wasn't able to do that. I'm not taking blame or I don't feel guilty about anything, but I'm very upset with Seasons and how they handled this whole ordeal. So I just wanted to let you know how my Mother's Day went. That's how it was pretty much. So I was busy. So like I said, I'm at work here now. I'm working until 6 o'clock. There's a lot of paperwork that I need to do. I need to discharge this resident. I need to pack up his some of his belongings. And like I said, I spoke to the daughter earlier, and she just said that he has a couple hours and then he will be transitioning. So God bless him. God bless the family. And I just wanted to tell you guys that, just continue to be great, continue to follow your dreams and just follow your goals. And, if assisted living is what you want to get into, feel free to contact me. You can DM me. You can, go on my website. And I just want to let you know that I am having an 8-week, assisted living coaching program. If you're interested in that, contact me and I can tell you a little bit about that. Happy Monday and have a great day.